Hello students, today we will do NEET JEE lecture 2, which is in continuation with the lecture 1. In the last lecture we did 8 MCQ, so today we will be starting from 9th MCQ. Also the PDF file for this portion is given in the description of the video. You can download the question from there. Now question 9 is, two capital Q charges are kept on the opposite side of the square. So let us say Q charge, Q amount of charge 1, 2, 3 and this is 4. The length of the square is L. So capital Q charge are on the two opposite side of the square and another Q charge is on the other two sides. So this is the geometry. It is also given that the resultant force on the capital Q charge is 0. Now you can take 3 or 1 charge. So let us say the resultant force on F3 is 0. It is given. So if the resultant force on this Q is 0, you have to find out the ratio Q upon Q, capital Q upon small q. Now seeing this question, we don't know what is the sign of the Q charge, capital Q charge and the small q charge. And you cannot also assume it. But it is clear that the resultant force is 0. So first we find out the resultant force acting on this 3. So it can be force on 3 due to 1 plus force on 3 due to 2 plus force on 3 due to 4 is equal to 0. So this is what you have to find out. Now it is clear that from the geometry, suppose I take all the 4 charges as positive. So if I take all the 4 charges as positive, the resultant force on 3 due to 1 should be in this direction, that is along the diagonal, F32 in this direction and F34 in this direction. This is F31. Now at that time you can add 2 vectors. All the 4 charges are assumed to be positive. So the resultant of 32 and 34 are in the same direction. So the resultant of this and 31 are in the same direction. Now if 2 forces are in the same direction, the resultant cannot be 0. So it is clear that all the 4 charges will not have the same polarity. Even if you take all the 4 charges to be minus, then also the diagram remains same. It means 2 charges are positive and 2 charges are negative. We don't know which are the positive, which are negative. Let us make an assumption. If you take capital Q as positive, then this direction is right. And if I take both the small q charge as negative, I am assuming the thing. So this becomes F32, we are assuming this is negative. This is charge small and this is negative. So there will be a force of attraction. Now the resultant of 32 and 34 is towards the center. So it is possible that you get a resultant to be 0. So it is clear that all the 4 charges have not a same polarity. If I take this capital Q as both as negative, then this resultant is true. F31 will be repelled. Again it will be attracted. So diagram remain like this. So there are 2 possibilities. All 4 are positive, all 4 are negative. Identical diagram. 2 are positive, 2 are negative. Any 2 are positive, any 2 are negative. So this diagram is correct. Now if the resultant force are in the same direction, 2 forces, resultant cannot be 0. So it seems that either capital Q or small q is negative and other is positive. So if I assume plus q as positive, minus small q should be negative. So this is how we can make out from the diagram whether the charges can be positive or negative. Now at a time, or if you cannot find out which are positive and negative, simply we can see these two forces are perpendicular to each other in any case. So let us name this as F dash. So F31 plus F dash is equal to 0. And therefore F dash should be equal to minus of F31. So from this equation it is clear that the resultant of 32 and 34, F dash is a resultant of this, should be equal in magnitude and opposite in direction to 31. Then only it is possible that the resultant comes out to be 0. So whether magnitude is same or not, the resultant should be 0. And then you have to find out the ratio between q and small q. So first we find out F dash. So F dash is equal to F32 plus F34. Whatever be the polarity of the charges, these two will remain perpendicular to each other. So we find out its magnitude. F23 is equal to F34 is equal to, now magnitude, that will be KQQ upon L square. So this is your equation number 3. Now both are perpendicular to each other, so F dash is equal to, magnitude of F dash is equal to under root F32 square plus F34 square plus 2F32 F34 cos of 90. Cos of 90 is 0. And we know that if two forces are perpendicular to each other, the resultant should be root 2 times if their magnitude is same. So our resultant comes out to be 2KQQ upon L square. Let this be equation number 4. Now if I take this resultant, let this be the center and this is F dash. Now in order to get the resultant force to be 0, F31 has to be in the opposite direction. It is also clear from this equation. Now I find out the magnitude of F31. So this is equal to KQ square upon this distance. That comes out to be root 2 times L square. So this is root 2L and therefore its square becomes 2L square. This is equation number 5. Now both are opposite to each other. Negative sign indicate that it is opposite. So either directly you write F dash is equal to, that is F dash value is equal to minus of this, or you can take the help of under root F dash square plus F square 31 plus 2F dash F31 cos of 180. Now cos of 180 comes out to be minus 1. They are in the opposite direction. So we can do that and the resultant is 0. Instead of this, it is clear that both should be opposite to each other, and therefore from equation number 4 and 5 we write that root 2 KQQ upon L square is equal to minus KQ square upon 2L square. So this L square get cancelled, KK get cancelled, Q get cancelled. You have to find out the ratio of Q by Q. So this Q, small q equal to, take the minus sign to there. So the ratio comes out to be minus 2 root 2, that is option number A. So this is how we do such type of numericals. From the geometry, first you have to think about the direction. Resultant was 0, so these two forces should be opposite in direction, and therefore directly we have written like this. Otherwise, you can use the vector form of this equation, and taking this angle as 180 degree also, we can come to this formula. So let us now move to question number 10. Now two pith ball carrying equal charges are suspended from a common point of string of equal length. So the length of the string here is equal. The equilibrium separation between them is R. Now the strings are rigidly clamped at half the height. The height has been reduced to half. This was y, now this height is y by 2. Now you have to find out what is the equilibrium separation between the balls. Now new distance. So when the pith ball were clamped at an angle theta, or the equilibrium position was obtained at R. Now such type of numerical we have done earlier. This was the tension. Immediately we make a component. This was T cos theta. This is the weight mg. And this was our electric force Fe. And this component was T sin theta. Now we know that T sin theta is equal to Fe and T cos theta is equal to mg. So in lecture 1 we did another form of such MCQ. So clearly tan theta is equal to Fe upon mg. Now here you have to find out the equilibrium distance, the new equilibrium distance when the height is reduced to half. Now the repulsive force between them, let us assume the charge on the sphere is QQ in both the cases. So this can be written as tan theta is equal to K Q square upon distance between the two spheres, that is R square mg. Now we need to find out R. So if I consider this as a right angle triangle, the tan theta will be equal to opposite upon adjacent. So opposite is R by 2. The entire distance is R. So this is R by 2. So tan theta can be written as opposite R by 2 upon adjacent, that is y. So R upon 2y is equal to K Q square upon R square mg. This is our equation number 1. Now using the same geometry, tan theta dash, now angle will be changed. So tan theta dash is equal to the repulsive force, that will also change, say Fe dash upon mg. Now tan theta dash, again theta dash, tan theta dash is opposite, that is R dash by 2, adjacent y by 2. So this 2 get cancelled. So I am writing 2 only. This is equal to Fe dash, that is K Q square. Now the distance is R dash square mg. Therefore R dash upon y is equal to K Q square R dash square mg. That is equation number 2. Now we need to find out the relation between small r and R dash. So directly you can take the ratio of this two equation. So R upon 2y divided by R dash y is equal to R dash square divided by R square. So this equation divided by this equation. So y get cancelled. We need to find out the relation of r dash, new distance, so r dash goes there. So r dash cube is equal to, this r comes here, so r cube upon 2, and therefore taking the cube root, r dash is equal to r cube root of 2. So r dash is equal to r upon cube root of 2. So that is our option B. Question 11. A plane sheet is given and a sphere is tied or hanged from a silk thread which makes an angle theta. So this is a plane sheet. That was our application in chapter number 1. Let the charge on this sphere is plus q. So the charge is, the plate is positively charged, sphere is positive charge, so there is a repulsive force Fe. Again the tension comes into the picture. Again we draw the component t cos theta like a previous MCQ. This is t sin theta, this angle is theta, and this is mg. And we know that tan theta is equal to Fe upon mg. Now here Fe can be written as QE upon mg. And now for the plane sheet, we know E is equal to sigma upon 2 epsilon naught. So tan theta is equal to this formula. And we need to find out the surface charge density. So sigma is equal to 2mg epsilon naught, 2mg epsilon naught tan theta cross multiplication divided by q. So we take this all term here. So from this, all this term is constant. Therefore, sigma is directly proportional to tan theta. So we have our option B. So surface charge density is directly proportional to tan theta. Question number 12. We have two identical conducting spheres carrying different charges attract each other with a force F when placed in air medium at a distance d apart. So two identical spheres are attracting each other. The spheres are kept in contact and then taken to the original separation. So let us say this is sphere A, this is sphere B. Suppose the charge on the sphere is Q1 and Q2. They are separated by a distance d. So F is equal to, we are talking about the magnitude, is K Q1 Q2 upon d square. This is equation number 1. Now both the spheres are kept in contact with each other and they are taken to the original separation. Now the two spheres repel each other. So the two spheres which were attracting start repelling now with a force whose magnitude is equal to that of initial attractive force. So magnitude remains same. The ratio between the initial charges on the sphere is, we have to find out the ratio of Q1 and Q2. Now see, when both the charges are kept in contact with each other. Now suppose sphere A and sphere B are kept in contact with each other. Now the sign becomes important. So here we have taken the magnitude, but in the question there is a force of attraction. So one is positively charged and other is negatively charged. So let us say this is plus charge, this is minus charge. This is only the magnitude. Now when they are kept in contact with each other, it is clear that the transfer of the electron will take place, that is charging by conduction. So its negativity will decrease, its positivity will decrease. Now they are found to be repelling each other. So when we separate this, first you have to find out total charge. So in that situation you have to take the sign. So this is a total charge, Q1 minus Q2. Now when you separate this two charge or two sphere, and they are kept at the same separation. So we have to keep them at the same separation. But the charge will be divided half-half. That we know that when identical spheres are kept in contact with each other, the charge are distributed equally. So the charge becomes Q1 minus Q2 by 2, half of this, Q1 minus Q2 upon 2. Now it is given in the question that the spheres are kept in contact and taken to original separation. So it is given that separation remains same. So D, but the charges has been changed. Now new force of attraction. Again we are talking about the magnitude, that is F dash C. So it becomes K product of this, that is Q1 minus Q2 whole square divided by 4. Separation is same, 4D square. So this is equation number 2. Now it is given that the magnitude of the force is same. So now there is a mathematical calculation. We take this two forces magnitude to be same. So equating F is equal to F dash K Q1 Q2 upon D square is equal to K Q1 minus Q2 whole square upon 4D square. Now see the mathematical calculation. KK is cancelled, D square is cancelled. So 4 Q1 Q2 is equal to Q1 minus Q2 whole square. So we make a quadratic equation from this. 4 Q1 Q2 is equal to Q1 square minus 2 Q1 Q2 plus Q2 square. Therefore, Q1 square, this 4 goes to that side, so it becomes minus 6 Q1 Q2 plus Q2 square. Now, you need to find out the ratio of Q1 and Q2. So there are different methods to find out this ratio. One of this method, to make the calculation easy, we divide the entire term by Q1 and Q2. So dividing equation by Q1 Q2 both the side. So if I divide Q1 square by Q1 Q2, 1 Q1 Q1 cancel, so Q1 by Q2. Then this entire equation divided by this, Q1 Q2 get cancelled, so minus 6. And this divided by this becomes Q2 upon Q1 equal to 0. See, there are many methods. Mathematically you can do the another methods also. So one of this method is this. Now let Q1 upon Q2 is equal to alpha. Take some constant. And therefore I can write alpha minus 6 plus, यह उल्टा है, reciprocal, 1 upon alpha. See how do we construct a quadratic equation? So it becomes alpha square minus 6 alpha, here it is equal to 0. So alpha is the LCM, plus 1 is equal to 0. So now it is easy to find out the root of this, and alpha is taken as Q1 by Q2. What we required? We required the ratio Q1 upon Q2. So we need to find out alpha only. Now the root of alpha is minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac, that is our formula for discriminant, upon 2a. Therefore alpha is equal to minus b, so here minus 6, it becomes 6, plus minus under root b square, that is 36, minus 4ac, so a is 1, c is also 1, divided by 2, a is 1. So alpha is equal to 6 plus minus root 32 divided by 2. So this is the formula or this is the value of alpha. Now if we refer the options, the options are in the terms of root 8. So here we need to keep root 8 and the remaining term should be taken out. So 32 can be written as 8 in 8 fours are. So that 4 comes out and it becomes 2. So from the MCQ we have to decide, from the option you have to decide which term we have to keep in the root. Otherwise I can write root 32 as 16 twos are, so 4 root 2 also. But in all the options given here we have root 8. So this can be written as alpha is equal to 6 plus minus 2 root 8 divided by 2, and therefore alpha is equal to, now see that you have a two possibility. So first possibility is 3 plus root 8, and or you can say or alpha is equal to 3 minus root 8. So your answer should be either 3 plus root 8 or 3 minus root 8. But at the same time, this alpha is q1 upon q2. You have to find out the initial ratio. The other possibility is alpha is equal to 3 minus root 8. These are the two solutions. Now if you see the options, you will not get this answer in the options. The options are different. So where is the mistake? Now it is given that both the charges, initially in the question, both the charges were having different charge, means one was positive and one is negative. We found the ratio q1 by q2, and you have to find out the ratio between initial charges. So initial charge, the polarity was opposite. So alpha is q1 by q2, that is equal to 3 plus root 8 or 3 minus root 8. But if both the charges have a opposite polarity, then we take a sign minus q1 upon q2 is equal to 3 plus root 8 or minus q1 upon q2 is equal to 3 minus root 8. Now I take the minus to this side. So one option becomes q1 upon q2 is equal to minus 3 plus root 8. That is, and or q1 upon q2, you take minus to this side, it becomes minus root 3 plus, minus 3 plus root 8. So clearly the answer are these two possibility, and in the option it is option number C. So you have to take the minus sign while answering in the end, because you have to find out the ratio between the initial charges, and both the charges initially were opposite. Let us see question number 13. In question number 13, a circle of radius A has a charge density given by lambda is equal to lambda naught cos square theta. So here a circle have a linear charge density. Say when the charge are distributed on the surface of a circle, it is a linear charge density. So it is like this. We have a long wire and it is given a shape of a circle, and this linear charge density lambda is lambda naught cos square theta. Clearly it is a variable. The lambda is not constant, it is a function of theta, let the amount of charge deposited is Q. We have to find out the total charge on the circle. So we have to find out the total charge on the circle. Clearly, when we did the densities, that is linear surface and volume charge density, we discussed about uniform and non-uniform distribution. So here the distribution is variable. It is a function of theta. The radius of the circle is A. The radius of the circle given is small a. So, for a non-uniform linear charge density, we know that lambda is equal to dq by dl, and therefore dq is equal to lambda dl. We have to make a small element to find out the electric field intensity or the force or a charge. So here dq is the amount of charge deposited on a small line element dl. The lambda given is lambda naught cos square theta dl. Now let us take this element. The entire wire is divided into the small element, and each element length is say dl. So we are dividing the entire wire into the small element. So one element is dl, and the amount of charge on this small element is dq. Now if I take this element, so this is the element, the tail is connected to the center and the head is connected to the center. The initial angle, that is, see, this is the element, head and tail are joined. This angle is taken as theta. So when I move on the circle, the small angular displacement is assumed to be d theta. So let us enlarge this diagram. It is like I have drawn this line element dl having charge dq. So elements are infinitely small. I join the tail with the center, and this angle is taken as theta, and the element length is dl, and the angular displacement is taken as d theta. The radius is a. So this is the enlarged diagram. Clearly, when I have to find out the total charge, I have to integrate this equation. Now when I do the integration, it should be integration with respect to dl. Here the dl remains constant, the element is equal, it is infinitely small, and we assume the line elements are same, but theta is variable. So I have to convert, or I have to derive the relation between dl and d theta. Clearly from the diagram, so d theta is equal to the arc upon radius. So we write that from figure, d theta is equal to arc AB upon radius. A is the radius, and therefore d theta is equal to arc is the line element dl A. So therefore dl is equal to a d theta, that is equation number 2. We substitute this equation 2 in equation 1. So dq is equal to lambda naught a cos square theta d theta. So this is, the equation is converted into theta. Now if I move on a circle from this point, say point P, then theta is 0, and after completing one circle or the circumference, the limit becomes 0 to 2 pi radian. Now mathematically cos square theta is 1 plus cos 2 theta by 2. So mathematics students know this formula, bio students have to learn this. I write this formula as half plus cos 2 theta by 2. So substituting this value in equation number 4, we can write dq is equal to lambda naught A, in the place of cos square theta, I am writing half plus cos 2 theta by 2 d theta. Now, opening the bracket, so it becomes lambda naught A half d theta, take d theta inside, plus cos 2 theta by 2 d theta. Now, I integrate this equation on both the sides. So, integration of dq, limit becomes 0 to q, total charge is q. That is equal to lambda naught A integration half d theta, limit is 0 to 2 pi, that is the entire circumference of the circle, plus integration 0 to 2 pi cos of 2 theta by 2 d theta. So this is the integration. This dq integration is q final minus initial, so it becomes q lambda naught A. Then half remains constant, integration of d theta is theta, limit is 2 pi minus 0, so it becomes pi. So I do this integration, half integration of d theta is theta, so it becomes final value 2 pi minus 0, so it comes out to be pi, plus integration of this half is taken as common. Now integration of cos 2 theta, so integration of cos theta is sin theta, and we have to do the derivative of 2 theta also. So in this situation, when we do the integration of cos 2 theta, so let me write this as 0 to 2 pi cos of 2 theta d theta. So this is equal to lambda naught A q pi plus half. Now the integration of cos theta is sin theta. The integration of cos theta is sin theta. Derivative of sin theta is cos theta. Derivative of cos theta is minus sin theta. So mathematical students know the integration of cos theta will be sin theta. So integration sin theta, so sin 2 theta, then we do the derivative of 2 theta. This 2 theta derivative becomes 2, so it should be divided, and the limit becomes 0 to 2 pi. So this is equal to lambda naught A pi plus this 2 comes out 1 by 4, limit sin 4 pi, that is 2 pi kept here, minus sin of 0. So this is equal to lambda naught A, now sin 4 pi. So sin 4 pi means if we complete one circle it is 2 pi. Then I complete second circle, that is 4 pi. Here we know the coordinate is, if I take this as a unit circle, the coordinate comes out to be 1, 0. So sin 4 pi is 0 and sin 0 is also 0. So you are left with pi plus 0. And therefore Q is equal to lambda naught A pi, which is option number C. So our answer is lambda naught A pi. Question number 14. Question 14 is a very simple question. An electron is moving around the nucleus of an hydrogen atom in a circular orbit of radius r. So this is the nucleus of hydrogen and the electron is revolving around it. The radius is r. The Coulombian force between the two is, now the options are in vector form. if it is in a scalar form, we know that we can directly write the magnitude F is equal to K, charge of proton, charge of electron, and distance between them. This is the magnitude of the Coulombian force. But here the options are in the vector form. So the electric force between them is K. Then it is clear one is positive, one is negative. So the force will be towards the center or towards the nucleus, that is the Coulombian force, attractive force. So E for proton, then E for electron, so we put a minus sign, you have to consider the direction, divided by the magnitude R square, and then the vector form R cap, where R cap is from center to the electron, or it is outward. So minus sign indicate that it is opposite in direction. Now this is one answer, but again if we see in the options, there is no answer given in this form. So we know that unit vector can be written as vector divided by its magnitude. So Fe is equal to minus Ke square R vector divided by R cube. So it becomes the answer as option number B. So it is a Coulombian force in a vector form. Now question number 15. So let us see the question number 15. Again it is easy. An alpha particle of mass. So alpha particle is given. We know that a charge of the alpha particle is twice E, that is 3.2 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Alpha particle means a helium atom. Anyway, the charge is 2 proton. Helium consists of 2 proton, and they have given this value also. The mass of alpha particle is 6.4 into 10 raised to minus 27 kg. It is situated in a uniform electric field. So this alpha particle is situated in a uniform electric field of 1.6 into 10 raised to 5 volt per meter. The velocity of the particle at the end of 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter path. So distance covered is 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter path when it starts from rest. So we want to find out the velocity when the alpha particle starting from rest. So when it starts from rest, the initial velocity is 0. So this is initial velocity, this is final velocity. Clearly, if I draw electric field intensity uniform, and if I place a alpha particle here, say this is the origin, the charge is plus 2e, it will start moving in this direction. So it is accelerated motion. So it start accelerating along the x-axis. So now we know the force acting on alpha particle is equal to Q into E. This can be written as Q directly, it is given, E is known to us, and the force can be written as mass of alpha particle, acceleration of alpha particle is equal to QE, and therefore acceleration is equal to QE upon m alpha. So acceleration is given. Now directly acceleration is known, initial is 0, the distance is given. So directly we use the third equation of motion, v square minus v naught square is equal to 2AD. And therefore we substitute these values in the equation. So initial velocity is 0. So v is equal to under root twice acceleration of alpha particle into the distance. So this is equal to under root 2 into, in the place of alpha particle we write QE upon m into d. So all the physical quantities are given. So you find the answer of this MCQ by substituting the value. So calculation is left as an exercise. Now MCQ number 16, again it is a direct application. The electric field due to electric dipole at a distance r from its center in an axial position is E. So the electric field intensity along the axial position is E, and we know that this was equal to 2 kp upon r cube. This was the formula for a electric field intensity due to dipole at its axial point. So this was plus q, this was minus q, and this is say the axial point. And we found that when we place a test charge here, it is repulsion, this is attraction. So we got the formula in the direction of a dipole moment. This is its magnitude. Now it is given that if the dipole is rotated through an angle of 90 degree about its perpendicular axis, the electric field at the same point. Now the dipole is rotating. So new position of a dipole becomes minus q plus q. It means now this point becomes a equatorial point. So E equatorial magnitude in the vector form, it was minus kp. For magnitude, it is kp upon r cube. What is the electric field intensity at the same point? So directly we can take the ratio of E equatorial divided by E, that is equal to kp r cube into 2 kp r cube. So E equatorial is equal to E by 2. All the terms get cancelled. So directly it is clear that if you take the ratio of E equatorial and E equatorial will be equal to E by 2. That we know that E equatorial is equal to E by 2. And we have written the note also that if the distance is same, the equatorial electric field intensity is half the axial point. MCQ number 17. A hollow cylinder has a charge q coulomb within it. So we have a hollow cylinder. We have three regions C, B, A. The charge enclosed in it is q coulomb. So q charge is enclosed in this cylinder. If phi is the electric flux in the unit of voltmeter associated with the curved surface B, so it is given that phi of B is equal to phi. What is the flux linked with the plane surface A in the unit of voltmeter? Now see, the total flux phi total is equal to phi A plus phi B plus phi C. This is the total flux. Total flux according to the Gauss law is charge enclosed divided by epsilon naught. So this is equal to phi A plus, in the place of phi B, phi is given, so phi plus phi C. This is our equation 1. Now suppose this charge is a positive charge. So the field lines will be radially outward. So this will be the directions of the field lines. Now clearly the area vector of this cross section A is along the x-axis, the field is along x-axis. So the flux comes out to be EA. Similarly for C cross section, area vector is in negative x-axis and electric field is also in the same direction. So the flux comes out to be EA. Now it is clear that the flux linked with the cross section A and cross section C will be equal in magnitude. We are dealing with the flux. Flux is a scalar quantity and it is the number of field lines passing through a unit area held normal to the electric field. So from the geometry, whatever number of field line passes through the cross section is same amount of the field line pass through the cross section C, and therefore, or from the figure, phi A is equal to phi C. So this becomes double, therefore Q upon epsilon naught is equal to 2 phi A plus phi. So we assume phi A is equal to phi C. So phi A is written twice because phi A is equal to phi C. And therefore phi A twice phi A is equal to Q by epsilon naught minus phi. This implies phi A is equal to half and within bracket Q upon epsilon naught minus phi. So this is the flux linked with the surface A, or you can say it is also a flux linked with the surface C. So the option is A for this question. Now almost similar sum is 18th. Here if the electric flux entering and leaving an enclosed surface respectively are phi 1 and phi 2. So we have any closed surface, the electric flux entering matlab number of field lines entering in it is phi 1 and the flux leaving, so let this be the flux leaving, so for flux leaving is phi 2. Now see, if the flux is entering the closed surface, if the flux is entering the closed surface, it means there is negative charge in it. So phi 1 is equal to minus Q upon epsilon naught, say Q1. Therefore minus Q1 is equal to phi 1 epsilon naught. This is the flux linked with the closed surface which is entering, so the charge should be negative. Similarly, the flux leaving the closed surface, so if the flux is leaving, that means the flux is positive, so the charge should be positive. So for this, phi 2 is equal to Q2 by epsilon naught, and therefore Q2 can be written as phi 2 epsilon naught. Now the question is, what is the total electric charge inside the surface? So according to the law of conservation, the total charge enclosed is simply the summation. So there is Q1 negative charge and Q2 positive charge. So total charge summation Q is equal to Q2 plus of minus Q1. This will be the total charge. So if there are 10 protons and 2 electrons, so resultant will be 8 protons. So we do the summation. So this comes out to be phi 2 epsilon naught plus phi 1 epsilon naught, that is epsilon naught phi 2 plus phi 1, that is the total charge enclosed. Also if you see the options, this is the correct answer is this option number D is given. Now if you see the option A, B and C, it is clear that this equation in option A, B and C, the expressions are dimensionally incorrect. So they have given, in all the three cases, they have given Q is equal to phi upon epsilon naught. But we know that the flux is Q upon epsilon naught and not Q into epsilon naught. So instead of solving this, by common sense also we can say that this option A, B, C are dimensionally incorrect. So the correct answer should be the D option. So we wind up our lecture today. The remaining portion we will do in lecture 3. Have a nice day.